On a given night in the United States, approximately 554,000 individuals experience a state of homelessness. To be homeless, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, means to have no home or permanent place of residence. Every night, thousands of men, women, and children face extreme dangers and difficulties that come with having no home, including abuse, harassment, and vandalism. With all of these people living on the streets, it is important to ask how they got there. Is it drugs, laziness, teen pregnancies, broken homes? Contrary to popular belief, laziness and drug and alcohol abuse is not the only reason people become homeless. In fact, drug and alcohol usage only makes up 10% of these factors. Instead, loss of job and unemployment is a primary cause of homelessness. Cities across the country are filled with homeless people. They can be seen under bridges, on the sides of the road, or even in the street. Oftentimes, these cities do little to provide for the homeless population, and some city designers even plan cities to make it less comfortable for people to live outside. These people are forced to live in filth with no clean water, shelter, or food. Although most cities have significant amounts of homeless people, it is important to recognize those who have a very little homeless population. States such as Wyoming and North Dakota have taken steps such as funding shelters to house homeless people. In 2019, only 8% of Wyoming's homeless population was living on the streets, meaning 92% of the population were sheltered. By taking the necessary steps, local governments can work to reduce homeless populations and do a moral good.
The state of California is responsible for the majority of America's homeless population, and their numbers are only growing. While efforts are being made with the implementation of tent cities and pushes for other forms of semi-permanent housing, their numbers continue to rise. In Los Angeles County alone, a 2019 study showed that there were nearly 59,000 homeless people on the streets. The most popular area in Los Angeles being Skid Row. Skid Row is home to 2,788 homeless people and is unfortunately one of the harshest areas for homeless people to live. We are lucky enough to have found this interview of a man named Luke, who shares his reality about his time spent on Skid Row.
The problem is you get trapped here, and people say, I panhandle for money. People say, get a job. Okay, well, if I had somewhere to rest my head where my stuff wasn't stolen, where I didn't have to worry about blankets, where I didn't have to worry about food, I might be able to get a job. But then also, I've been seen through this entire town now, and now I'm known as homeless. So to get a job, I have to leave the area. I have nowhere to get a shower daily. I have nowhere to keep work clothes. It's not as easy as get a job, you know?
And you don't get much sleep.
No, right.
Because you're in survival mode, and the other night I met somebody and his shoes were stolen while I was sleeping.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's a very funny thing. Your shoes get stolen a lot while you're here. And who steals a homeless man's shoes? Your shoes can be completely worthless, and someone still takes them. And that's a really hard thing, because you wake up in the morning and you've got no shoes. Now you got to walk around where people throw broken glass, people piss on the ground, cockroaches, and you got to look for shoes. And that's very disheartening. That's one of the strangest things I've come across here. I've had shoes that are completely worthless and stink so bad it's unreal, and someone still takes them. But it's also sharper than me. I don't miss a beat. There isn't too much. I'm pretty in tune with everything and everyone around me. I'm a lot more aware than they are, I assume.
Today, more New Yorkers are experiencing homelessness than ever before. In a city of more than 8.4 million people, nearly 1 in every 125 New Yorkers is homeless. That's nearly 70,000 men, women, and children. Every night, nearly 4,000 people sleep on the street, in the subway system, or in other public spaces. New York City has a distinctive way of dealing with the homeless, which is to pay for them to live pretty much anywhere else in the country. Since 2014, Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration has used a program called Special One-Time Assistance to relocate nearly 10,000 homeless people to over 300 cities. However, this program caused backlash from the cities that New York sent their homeless people to, and many lawsuits were filed against New York City. At the end of the day, one of the biggest keys to ending homelessness is through the government. If we really want to help our homeless populations, we have to come together and push our local and state governments to make changes in order to help those who feel helpless.
As the population of homeless people in America continues to grow, so do the amount of organizations focused on fixing the problem. Organizations like United Way, Feeding America, Mercy Housing, Goodwill, and local food pantries strive to better the lives of those living in poverty by providing inexpensive clothes, free housing, and free meals. In addition, there are foundations that accept donations, especially during the holiday seasons, that anyone can donate to. Any amount is appreciated and used to benefit the homeless all around the country. Taking a personal approach to this problem can include volunteering at homeless shelters as a mentor or tutor to kids, volunteering at food pantries, donating food during food drives, and spending time at soup kitchens, feeding those who can't afford to feed themselves or their families. Giving up personal time to be a volunteer in your community to help the less fortunate living around you is a big part of making a difference and selflessly changing the world. As for me, my mother grew up volunteering at a women's transitional shelter in Atlanta and continued the tradition with our family. Spending the last Friday of every month, every Thanksgiving, and every Christmas Eve since my mom and dad started a family has been something that has made us a more loving family and has opened our eyes to the sad problem that is homelessness in America. In our years of volunteering, we have witnessed many women get back on their feet by working and saving enough money to live on their own, women fixing their broken home relationships, and many women gaining the confidence needed to progress towards independence. As volunteer work has played a large role in my life, it has also been a leading factor in deciding what I want to do when I grow up. For the last 3 years, I have dedicated my summers traveling doing missionary work, and last summer I had the amazing opportunity to meet incredible teens from all over the country and redo a few apartments at an apartment complex that housed homeless veterans. About 11% of the adult homeless population are veterans. These are some pictures and videos of my work team at the apartment complex. We spent our week cleaning out apartments and repainting them for new veterans that were soon going to be housed there. But this used to be covered in weeds, and now it looks really good. We cut our friend Ryan cut the grass. We still have to blow it.
Okay, hey vlog, it's day 4
Workday
of
3.
Catholic Art Work Camp.
Workday 3, and we out here, we're just trimming some bushes.
Come on.
It's actually Ryan's last day out here.
My last day.
So we're
Last
doing
day
a
of
big
the
push send-off.
So this is
With my
Ryan's
boy
send-off.
When wanting to fix the things that make our world the dark place it is, we can't help but think what the United States would be like without homelessness. Would the world be a better place? Would people be happier? Would the streets be cleaner? When hearing personal experiences of women and men that have worked their way out of living on the streets and in shelters, they tell me that it's a different world. It makes them feel accomplished and proud. It's a lot of work, but I overcame adversity. And when asking people who spend lots of times volunteering how they feel afterwards, they tell me, I feel like I made a difference. It makes me happy helping those in need and less fortunate. And for me, it shows that there is still light in this world full of darkness.
Of course, there is a lot that happens around the world we cannot control. We cannot stop earthquakes, we cannot prevent droughts, and we cannot prevent all conflict. But when we know where the hungry, the homeless, and the sick exist, then we can help. While it's true that helping one person might not change the whole world, it could change the world for that one person.